Let's get it.
Am today without the influence, the wisdom, and the guidance of Shrek. So you could probably imagine just how devastated I was when I heard that Shrek 5 has been delayed for 6 months to 2027. But why, you ask? How could they do this? Today we're going to talk about just that. Now, just to preface everything, okay, DreamWorks has never actually come out and said why they're delaying this movie. However, I think the entire internet is on the same page about this. So on X, the very first reply to this post announcing the Shrek delay was good, fix the character design. It's happening again with an ugly Sonic picture. The history book on the shelf is always repeating.
And that's one thing that is interesting is that we live in a different day and age where our voices are immense. It's not like back in the days before the internet. People didn't really have the power to address their opinion. We just had to take it as it is. But nowadays, like you can rally it up on X, on Instagram, and so many of these platforms, and they have no other choice but to bend the knee. You know, uh, that's a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing, and I'll explain later.
Itself. Somebody said they delayed it to change the animation style. Trust. They read the hate on the new designs and are going back to formula. More ugly Sonic. So a lot of people have actually already made up their mind about how they feel about this character design. Now let me just show you guys a quick comparison of Shrek in the most recent trailer versus Shrek.
Look at that difference, man. It's like his face gotten more condensed. His and also the fidelity of the lights and shadows looks much more shinier on the right compared to the left. And it's just the face just doesn't look as realistic as well. Even though there's more fidelity, it still doesn't have, it's just like the eyes are much more closer together. It just has this weird warp of like looking cartoonish, but at the same time, it's just much more enhanced with the computer graphics. And sometimes more is less and less is more, because the one on the left, we're so used to his iconic facial features that a lot of people just seen that a mile away. And it's just one of those things where a lot of these companies, they'll try something different. And unfortunately, when it comes down to consumers, we kind of go back and forth between what is something that we are relatively used to and fighting that with, oh, we're bored of that, we want something brand new. And it's like a lot of times even big companies don't even know, right? It's like hindsight is 2020. um I think this is starting to become not just with Sonic but also with these other companies where they will have no other choice but to just release a trailer when the movie is not even close to being in development, so that way they could get a good feedback of what the audience is looking for. And then after that, then they'll go back and um, complete the development on the IP instead of the Sonic situation where the whole thing was almost done. So they had to go back and change the graphics. It's just a lot of work.
As we know him from the previous four movies. Now, personally, when this trailer first came out, I saw the difference
Dang,
immediately in
look
Shrek's
at
character design, and
huge
I was
difference.
very thrown off by it. It honestly looked a little bit cheap. It felt like they were sanding down Shrek's unique proportions and features. It almost felt like I was looking at a spin off TV show of some kind, and a lot of people have.
Like I said, the fidelity of the right is much more enhanced. Like the new Shrek looks more defined than the one left. However, that was the beauty of the one to left. This is a good example of just because the graphics gotten better, the lights and shadows look more sharper, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, right? A good example is anime. Like some people love the 90s retro anime style and the coloring compared to the digital style that we have, right? Because back then, they had a different way of coloring their works of art, which was more manual compared to now with the computers. Like you could just easily just fill in the colors. Back then, that's why they had that rough look to it, and people love that imperfection. Just shows more of that connective tissue of us human beings compared to something that's just perfectly sharp. And now people are starting to push that away because look at AI, right? Like AI is just so like sharp to the point where it's like, ugh. Like some people's digital artwork, you're starting to think is AI. In some cases, it's not. So yeah, we're starting to get back into the roughness, the textures. um the imperfections how things was, and that's actually a pretty good thing, honestly, because that's something that we are earning to get back.
have reacted the same way. But, of course, there's also a portion of people on the internet who don't actually see this. Literally looks the same, just higher fidelity. What exactly is different? The hyperbolic comments saying it looks way off or they hate the changes are ridiculous. They are damn near identical. I don't see any difference between the two examples. It just looks like the quality of the animation increased, so there's a touch more detail. They are fine and not that bad. People are just overreacted. I just don't know what is it about Shrek's face that feels so wrong. Yeah, I can't explain what's wrong with Shrek's face either. Maybe because it's less rounded than it was before. You know what? I can explain. And for those of you guys who are really into shapes and character design, I feel like you can probably see everything that I'm about to point out here. Now let's just start off with the overall shape of Shrek's head. First of all, they've changed his head shape.
Yeah, the shape is much more condensed, and his eyes, the orientation of his eyes was a bit more spread out, but now it's closer together to the nose. And then the overall computer graphics looks completely different. So that's another big thing as well. Now, is it one of those things where, like, if you are a casual viewer, would you really know? No, you just gotta look at it like, oh, just better fidelity, like most people said in the comments, right? Um, and that's perfectly fine, because in the end of the day, the internet has this tendency of exaggerating in order to get clicks and views. Of course, right? Just like X. Everybody want to put something in the comment just to get exposure. It's just all intention seeking. However, at the same time, I mean, like, most people don't really care, right? They just want to see the storyline. They want to see how good the movie is. Now, is this horrendous like Sonic? No. Sonic was so bad, even regular people look at it like, ew, that's not even Sonic. Like, that looks like a horror film. But looking at this, just giving a very honest opinion. I'm part of the minority here, even though I'm an artist as well. I don't see this as something horrific. However, me personally, I definitely, when I first saw this trailer, I definitely seen the difference, especially Fiona on the left hand side. I'm like, dang, what happened here? They definitely changed the complete entirety of the engine that they used before compared to what they're using now. Is it Unreal Engine? I don't know. But fair use. Let me just fast forward because he's just giving a breakdown. And oh, perfect. So I could just give my breakdown instead of just reacting to his video. So you could definitely see his shoes side by side, right? So on the left hand side, his lips are fuller. He has much more of a, even though both parties are exaggerated, right? But this looks more of a realistic proportion compared to the one on the right, right? His green, the color of his skin is a different color. This is more of an olive green. This is more of a leaning towards a summer green, right? Now that also could be due to lighting. We also got to take accountable of that as well. His eyes, again, like I said, the orientation of his eyes. See how it's more spread out right here? It's more spaced out. This one is closer. It just looks like his head is like, instead of it like before it was like this, now it's like this. So that's the biggest thing. And his ears look a little smaller. Again, that could be due to just the screenshot. The eyebrows gotten thicker. See how his eyebrows are thicker now compared to before. It was just like barely there, like the Mona Lisa. And the nose changed as well. His nose looks more flattened, like more squished and upper. While now it just seems more angular. It's like it looks like there's more prominence to the nose, and there's more exaggeration between the philtrum of the nose and the mouth. Again, will most people care to see all of that? No. However, your subconscious, you see how things work. Even if you are a casual viewer, you will still, in a way, like someone said in the comment section, in the video, the person was saying there's something that's off about it. That's the same thing when it comes down to CGI, right? Which is also still considered computer graphics as well, right? But I'm saying that in live action, there are times where you're like, I could tell it's CGI and it looks like crap. And then there's times where it is so good that you didn't even know it was CGI. And then there's also the third one, like Thanos from Infinity War, where you know it's CGI, but it looks so good, right? And those are the three pillars that people see. That you don't need to be to specialize in X, Y, and Z, right? To fully get it. You just know the basics of it. While people who specialize in it, we know the logistics of it. That's the only difference, right? So looking at these two, clearly, if you was to change the orientation of the eyes, match the skin tone, and do all these little features, right? Also, his mouth is more jagged right here. You see how the mouth right here is a chipped tooth? It's chipped. And right here, it was chipped at the bottom. Here, it's chipped at the top and the bottom. But at the top, again, nitpicking. But these little things, if that was to be fixed, then most people would not complain about it. So let's fast forward. What else is he saying? And if you like this video, hey, show support, man. I do a lot of content on here, all right? So I do a lot of shameless plug. I do a lot of pen and ink drawings, all right? So I would show you guys. Let me just switch over to a full view and then do this right here. There we go. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of ballpoint pen drawings. So half of it is a render, the other half is black and white. And the challenge is amazing. So you guys throw your suggestions down below. Any characters you guys want me to draw, to design, I just do it all on my sketchbook. So from anime to comic book art, you name it, video game characters, any type of characters you guys are fans of, all right? You guys are familiar with. So that's my shameless plug. Let's get back into it.
Look at that. Oh my.
Oh wow. Okay, so then see you can even see the difference right here. The person definitely spaced out the eyes. They changed the color to look more summer green instead of this olive murky color that's trying to look realistic. This one looks more like the Shrek color. Then the nose, they didn't really change. Okay, yeah, they made the nose wider. They made the nose wider. But here's the problem though. The complete orientation of the nose is different. The shape of it now has an angular look compared to before it was flattened and up. Think of it like almost like I'm doing this. Like I'm doing this. That's how it kind of looks like. It's flattened and it goes up.
So in this video titled I Fixed Shrek 5 Trailer, all this person did was space Shrek's eyes apart just a little bit. Now of course that edited version is still not exactly what old Shrek used to look like, but that tiny change actually made a huge difference. So in the R Shreks,
here's another one. Yeah, yeah. It's again, this is one of those things, you know. Just like when I do these drawings, when I look at it from observation, I'm not trying to replicate it, but it looks good enough. It don't look exactly like it. The moment you put the original reference to what I've designed, what I drew side by side, it's a glaring difference, right? And that's the same thing when it comes down to Shrek. Uh, People are big fans of Shrek, and this is one of those moments where they had really high expectations, so they're extremely picky when it comes down to the little things. So
was so good, more grounded, real. Redesign was actually incredibly successful for Paramount. And now Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is in development after the initial trilogy earned over 1.1 billion worldwide, which likely never would have been possible without the redesign of Ugly Sonic. Shrek 5 potentially being delayed for a redesign of its own could be perfect. And honestly, this is a really good...
It's a good thing. I'm not gonna play the video in its entirety, but I'll always put the original contents. Sam does art. I'll put the original video in the description below. I just look at it like this, right? And like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a good thing when we have a voice now because the internet is like you don't need to like literally go to these companies and knock on their brick and mortar door. You can literally just be in the comfort of your home and just have a phone and just tweet something, and then everybody is like, oh yeah, pitchforks. As good compared to the 90s and early 2000s. However, I still look at it like it's a bad thing as well, because certain people would take that power and become very entitled. You know, they will make a movie that potentially is pretty good, but since they have a biased opinion towards it and they have influence, then most people are going to agree with that person or set people, and then the IP of that particular movie doesn't do well, unfortunately. So that's what I mean by, like, it can be bad just because you personally don't like it. And another thing, just to add on to that, is that let's say they didn't do a redesign, right? But the story of the movie is good. Again, we don't know. I'm saying hypothetically. Then what happens, right? What happens? We just threw away a good movie just because we just didn't like the fact that they didn't continue the same aesthetic of what they'd done previously. And that's one of the conundrums. It's like, I'm on the fence, so that means both parties are gonna hate me for that. But I'm just being honest. Like, just because a production company decide to do something different, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, right? Sometimes people get tired of doing the same thing, right? Um, but I think we're now again in this day and age where companies are no longer, or they should no longer, just make something complete or 90% done and then show the trailer, especially for something that's fully CGI. So it should be more in line of, it should be 20% done, or at least they're about to start the IP and then they show a teaser of it and then just show how the character design look. And then once that's approved, everybody loves the way it looks, blah blah blah. Then you could go more into detail, right? But yeah. So I pretty much said what I need to say. I'm gonna read the comments a little bit on this video, and then share your comments also of your opinion down below. So let's see what some of these people had to say on this video. All right. Changing Shrek's physical appearance to suit a more mainstream style literally goes against the point of the second Shrek movie, where he became handsome and then, okay, he's getting too deep into it. They took, he or she, they took not only Shrek, but also Donkey's eyelashes. Yeah, Donkey looks different too, right? Everybody's talking about how Shrek redesigned. Donkey got it the worst. Like, Donkey, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I prefer original Donkey's look than the way he looks here. He looks more like jagged. Guys notice that he looks more jagged. There's more roughed up. I just hope this isn't. Oh, they Disney-fied the character from making fun of Disney movie. We don't. Doesn't look bad as its own thing, but it's weird to change the style in a numbered movie in the series. That's like making Frozen 3 and making, okay, we get that. Yeah. No, I get it. I think that's a good point, because if it is a sequel, why change the design, right? It should be more like, have it be done, and then this is what is it called again? Not Elseworld. Prequel, or not a sequel, or they just revamping. That's the word, revamp. I couldn't think of it on top of my head. A revamp. So if it's a revamp, that is completely fine. I'm gonna read one more. If they refuse the old models with the old graphics and release a good movie with that, almost nobody will complain. Nah, I disagree. I remember when the second Incredibles trailer came out, right? Good movie as well. Both movies are incredible, pun intended. Um, I remember when the second Incredibles trailer came out, a lot of people complained, right? There was like, oh, it looks exactly the same like the first Incredibles movie, even though if you really do a side by side comparison, it is enhanced. But the style didn't change. The style is exactly the same. It's just enhanced computer graphics. And people complained at first. They're like, yo, what? I expected it to look way better. But then when they watched the movie, they pedaled back. They're like, no, they ate crow when they realized, no, it's a good movie. And the graphics did get better. The style didn't change. So you cannot ultimately please anybody. I mean, not anybody. You can't ultimately please everybody. It's impossible. So the only thing you can do is just give a sample, or just be like, you know what? If you ain't gonna watch it, then it's not for you. Simple as that. You don't need to hate watch it. Um, but yeah, that's my overall opinion. Share your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and support your boy. Throw comments of any characters you guys want me to make in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.